So you probably know this man as one of the greatest drummers in the history of music. He's also a massive mixed martial arts fan. He is a practitioner himself, boxing, jiu-jitsu, does a little MMA in his own right. He's the man from Blink 182. He's a legend of the music scene. He's the inimitable, the often imitated, never duplicated, the man who needs no introduction, the great Travis Barker joining us right now on the program. What a great honor this is. Travis, how are you?
I'm great, man. It's an honor to be on your show.
Oh, well, thank you. It is our honor. And I know you're really, really busy these days, so I really appreciate you taking some time out. There's a lot going on. I saw even Nate Diaz was at your show just a couple of weeks ago in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, he was out there for that press conference and came to the show the next day. It was awesome.
So you have been, like, you were one of those guys, you know, from like the Rampage fighting in UFC era, and even before that, like you were one of the first famous guys that I can remember who would go to a UFC event and show face. Like when I would watch boxing, everyone was in the front row. There would be Brad Pitt and George Clooney, and I feel like you were one of that first wave of people who said like, no, UFC and MMA is really cool. How did you first fall in love with the sport? How did you get introduced to it?
You know, like a friend I grew up with was really, really into it, and I started boxing. Like when I found out I was having a son, I started boxing immediately, like my first child. And I walked into John Bray's gym in Los Angeles, and I started boxing, and I never really stopped ever since I started. And then that led to, you know, not only loving boxing but loving MMA, and then you know I would always watch UFC fights, Bellator fights, Strikeforce fights, and then just started going to a couple of them when my schedule would allow me to. But yeah, I'm obsessed. I literally watch every fight. I watch all of your shows. I watch every embedded. I watch all of the countdowns. I'm obsessed with it. I love it.
This is your favorite sport?
Yes, by far.
Really? Wow. And
Yeah.
I'm just curious. You said you started boxing when your son was born. What does one have to do with the other?
I guess like before that, I never really did any boxing or MMA, and I think that was like a pivotal moment in my life where I was like, I want to get in shape. I want to be able to, I don't know, just be in great shape for my son and know how to fight and hopefully also, you know, teach him how to fight and my daughter. So we all trained MMA.
Really? Okay. And so not just boxing, you do jujitsu as well, right?
Yeah. I roll with. I used to go to Huron Gracie's academy in Beverly Hills when they had it because it was close to where I was living in Culver City, and now once in a while I roll with Chris Light, who lives out here by me, who also worked at the academy.
Wow. Okay. And so like for you, when you're watching these fight, like what impressed you most about MMA? Like why were you drawn to it? Was there something in particular? Did you like the rawness, the realness? Why were you first, into it, attracted to it?
Everything, the lead up to the fight, knowing how much hard work and training they were putting in leading up to the fight was always. I think I was really obsessed with that because I train like that when I get ready to go out on tour. Um, and then just the high competition level is just insane. It's amazing. So that I don't know. I guess that just kind of like drew me in, and I've never been able to kind of get away from it. I've been obsessed. It helps me like prepare for a tour. It helps me like even on tour if I'm like been out there for a while and whatever. I don't know. Just watching the lead up to a fight or just knowing like my friends are training. If Ortega's in a training camp already or Dominick Cruz or Nate. I don't know. I compare myself a lot to them and it makes me work harder. And I'm very fortunate I hit drums and they don't hit me back.
Yes. Can you sympathize? Like, have you talked to those guys, friends of yours who are, high level fighters? And I wonder if you have found common ground. Like, obviously you're going out to perform. You're not going out to fight another person, but there's a lot of pressure on you. There's a lot of eyes on you. You're on, you're on center stage. There's a spotlight, and it's sort of like them. You have to perform when the lights get bright. And I'm sure there's nerves involved and anxiety. Have you ever talked to them about how they deal with that, and if it's the same types of feelings and mental warfare and all that stuff that you go through when you're going out to your quote unquote fight?
Oh, for sure. I used to talk to Dominick Cruz about it, and I'd just be like, I cannot imagine walking down, because I pretty much walked down those same aisles, like leading out to the ring, but out to play a show. And I was like, I can't imagine going out there knowing someone's gonna, trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Shoot, I lost you.
oh, it's okay. Someone might be calling you right now. That happens.
Yeah,
All right, we'll fight
possibly.
through it. It happens live.
But yeah, I can't imagine walking out there and not just to play a show, but stand in the middle of a ring and fight somebody. It's crazy.
Do you remember the first event you ever went to?
I think the first one I went to was Dominick Cruz, Uriah Faber. I think
Okay.
it was their second fight.
UFC 132 in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you there supporting Dominick?
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
I think we just met through mutual friends.
Okay. And you've trained with him, right?
I wouldn't call it training. I got I got beat up by him pretty well. He was really easy on me, but yeah, I invited him to the gym that I train at out here in Los Angeles, and yeah, we trained together a few times.
Okay. Now, like, when you say he beat on you, like, did you guys actually spar?
No, he actually his exact words was like, "Try and sleep me, like try and knock me out." So I had like 15 minutes to try and knock him out, but his footwork is so crazy and he's so elusive and 1 second he'd be in front of me, the next minute he'd be on the side of me and I'd be down on the ground, and his wrestling is just on another level.
And when you were a kid in high school, like, were you an athlete as well? Were you into combat sports or martial arts, anything like that?
I wasn't. I've always just really been into drums and music. It was kind of, the only thing I was into. I really didn't get into this until much later in my life.
And the abuse, I would imagine, on your body, like maybe your arms, your wrists, elbows, I don't know, like the state of your body right now after all those years of drumming, what is it like?
I'm actually okay.
Really?
I've figured it out. I figured out that battle ropes and boxing is probably the closest thing to drumming. So I'll do
Interesting.
battle ropes like 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Um, I'll run a lot. I run about 3 to 4 miles before every show, and boxing keeps my hands really really fast and kind of the fast twitch muscles going. Whereas I used to think I'd be getting ready for a tour and lifting weights would do something for me. Whereas it would just slow me down and make me really, really stiff.
So when you're on the road in some random city, are you still able to box or you do all that beforehand?
Yeah, I actually stop at a lot of the UFC gyms.
Oh,
And I'll
really?
just walk in. Yeah, hit pads, do a little sparring.
So you like Travis Barker just waltzes into like one of these 24-hour gyms and just starts hitting pads? That's it?
Yeah, I mean that's what keeps my mind right on tour.
Wow. That's weird. And no one bothers you?
No, I mean once in a while I'll get whoever's like holding pads. Maybe they're a little excited and they want to spar, and it gets a little out of control or whatever. I guess there's like points in saying like whatever. I sparred with Trav and I got the best of him or something.
Right.
Once in a while I'll get that, but I always kind of have to remind everyone: look, I'm a big fan of the sport. I love boxing. I love MMA. I'm not trying to be a fighter. I just am obsessed with the sport, and I like it in the form of keeping me in shape. And it's much, much better and more exciting to me than just heading into a gym and lifting weights or running on a treadmill.
And the other members of Blink 182, are they fans as well?
A little bit. They'll walk in my dressing room and be like, "Hey, who's fighting?" They have no clue, but I try to turn everyone on. We have fight night on the tour. We were just on with Lil Wayne. We'd all get together and we'd watch the fights when they were happening, or I'm just like fighting for my satellite to work when I'm on the bus. But yeah, I never miss a fight.
Really? Wow. So like you're even watching prelims and things like that?
Yeah, it was a bum out. I missed this weekend's prelims, but I caught the main events. Like
Wow.
the
Okay.
main card.
Is there a fighter or two right now that you're very high on? Like no matter what you're doing, you have to watch this person. Like do you have a favorite fighter or two right now that like this is must see TV anytime they're fighting?
Well, of course, like friends in the sport that I have, like I'll never miss a Nate fight. I love him and Nick. Uh, I'll never miss a John Jones fight. I love John Jones. Of course, when Dominick Cruz makes his return, I'll be watching. Um, I want to see that Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa fight.
Wow.
I hope that happens. So yeah, I mean, I watch no matter what. Like the Cubs Swanson fight this weekend was really great. Um, I pretty much don't miss a fight.
That's amazing. You really know your stuff. Pulling out Paulo
Yeah, and I
Costa
watch your
references.
show.
I appreciate it.
I really look forward to your show, like the Monday following the fights, just so I can kind of get the recap.
Wow, that means a lot. I was such a big
Yeah.
Blink fan back in the day. Like
Oh, thank you.
the song "Miss You." Like my wife now, but we dated and then we broke up. And like that song, like I felt like it spoke to me. And like I was a huge fan. I saw you guys once in concert, and the fact that you guys are still doing your thing and that you're not like, and correct me if you feel otherwise. I don't think you do. What I love so much about you guys right now is that you're not just like a throwback band. Like you're relevant. Like you're not just like a nostalgic act. People still respect you for who you are today, and not just like, oh, it was fun because we were fans of yours in the '90s. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering how you guys
Yeah.
maintained that. Like, how did you not become almost like a caricature of yourself? Because that seems to be the case with a lot of the bands from like the pop bands from the '90s. Like people love them and they're happy to go support them, but they don't view them in the same light today as they did back then. They kind of just view them as, nostalgia as opposed to relevant right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel very fortunate, very lucky, very blessed to be in the situation that you just described. Being able to make new music that still charts, and we still have singles that are relevant, and people still react to the new songs as much as they do the old songs, and not just become a legacy act. I think that's been our goal from the time we started our band. Once you make it past that, however many first 1 to 3 years, it kind of determines whether you're just going to be a one-hit wonder, you're going to be a band with a long, longevity and a long career. And we've just been blessed, and we have an amazing fan base, and still really enjoy what we're doing.
Anytime I think of you, I'm so impressed with your career arc. And I apologize if this is too personal, but I'm just wondering if I can ask you about the plane crash and how you've gotten over that. Like mentally, do you still feel haunted by it? Are you over it? I can't imagine going through something like that. Does it still haunt you? Do you still have nightmares about it? How do you deal with that now?
So yeah, like September 19th was the day of my crash, and every year I know when it's coming. I could just feel it, besides just, obviously, like, I lost 3 of my best friends. I turned out to be the only survivor in the crash. So, 2 of my best friends' moms hit me every, September 18th at 11:59 p.m. I reach out to them or they reach out to me. So there's constant reminders, and I always try to send them flowers or just touch base and say hello. But yeah, I mean, I think it's something that obviously changed my life 100% after it happened. It couldn't help but not change it. Uh, Besides like the physical harm that I endured, I think like 68% of my body was burnt. But losing like people that were really close to me, I don't think I'll ever forget that. And I still don't fly, but I also know that I'm here for a reason, and I seize the day. I cherish every moment and make the most out of my second chance that I've been given, and just go 110% at everything I have and everything I love and everything I have a chance to still do.
So you have not been on a plane since?
I haven't, no. So
Wow.
I'm on a tour bus 100% of the time, and then when I go to Europe, I take the Queen Mary 2. It's a 9-day trip from New York to London.
Wow. And so
Yeah.
there's never a moment where you're like, this is too long. Like, let me give it a go. Let me try. Like, do you ever consider that, or you'll never go on a plane ever again?
There's absolutely moments.
Okay.
Every 17-hour bus ride I do, I'm like, oh, I should just fly and get it over with. But I also, I think when the time's right, I'll do it. I'll never say I'll never do it, but I haven't come to the place where I feel 100% comfortable going back on a plane.
And do your bandmates fly?
Yeah, they fly.
Oh man.
They'll fly out to tour. Like, if the tour starts in New York, they'll fly out to New York. Whereas if the tour starts in New York, I drive out there, take like a 6 or 7 day, bus ride out there. But I can also stop every day and run and kind of practice leading up to the start of a tour, which is kind of cool.
Okay, wow. And so I guess that kind of makes it harder because you have to go through this alone, like on the boat, you're by yourself, or at least you're not with them, right? You have to kind of go through that journey by yourself.
Yeah, I do it solo, but I mean, I really make the most of that time, and I produce a bunch of other acts, a lot of younger artists and just people in general. So I'll just bring a studio out, and you're laser focused because you have zero distractions. It's just you have a gym and you have a room. So I set up a drum kit in there, a practice pad kit, so I don't like drive everyone on the ship crazy, and then bring a studio out, so I stay really productive.
Do you feel like you have a greater appreciation for life since then?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I can't really put into words and exactly on how much it changed me, but uh, I was living really reckless, before my plane crash. So it really, kind of pumped the brakes for me and put things in perspective. I went from like abusing drugs to being in a hospital and burn centers. I think I had about 30 something surgeries in 3 months. So, I went from recreationally doing drugs to all of a sudden like having morphine and having all these drugs I had to take, that it was no longer fun. So the minute I got out of there, I pretty much was clean. The only thing I did was smoke weed, but I had stopped everything else and just kind of, I don't know, just really reevaluated my life and the way I was living.
Wow. And how's your body now?
Yeah.
Like, do you still have the scars from the burns? Has it healed completely?
Yeah, I mean, I got really lucky. You can't really tell. It was mainly from my feet almost to my waist that I was burnt. So, there's little physical scars on my face. There's some on my hands you can kind of see that they're just like discolored or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
But no, I mean, like, from where I'm from, scars are cool. Those were tattoos before I had, tattoos. Scars were something I just collected, and yeah, I'm fine. It hasn't prevented me from doing anything. I run every day. I box every day. I can still play the drums. So yeah, I'm blessed.
You still vegan, right?
Yeah, I've been vegan for like 12 years, vegetarian since I was 13.
Wow. And did you get the blessed tattoo after the crash?
Yeah. Yep.
Apropos. It makes sense. Um, and
Yes, sir.
as I mentioned, Nate was at your concert. I know he stuck around an extra day to be there. How did you meet him? How did you link up with him? How did you become friends?
I don't even know how we first connected. I mean, I was always a fan from the first time I ever saw Nate or Nick fight. I loved those guys, man. I didn't know them, but I felt like I knew them. Felt like someone I grew up with, and yeah, I've supported and I've been at every fight I've been able to be at, depending on my schedule. But yeah, he's great, and he's fellow vegan. I love that guy, and I love the way he trains, and I love that he does all the triathlons, and yeah, he's just a great dude, man.
Maybe a stupid question, but I'll ask anyway. Do you have a prediction for November 2nd, the BMF title fight? Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal. Who are you going with?
I always feel bad making any kind of predictions because I hate saying like, oh, I want this person to win and this person to lose. Obviously, I want Nate to win because he's my boy, um, but I never really make predictions. I think that's just going to be a. I mean, we all know what we're getting. We're getting a real fight when those two meet. So, George Masvidal he's awesome, man. I love him as a fighter too. Like, I love what he did to Ben Askren. Um, but yeah, I just wish for the best. They'll both beat my ass. So I never say I wish someone would win and someone would lose. I don't think that's cool.
Okay, could I ask you before you go, is there one fight that you're dying to see like that isn't in the works? Like not Adesanya Costa or Diaz Masvidal, like one fight, like a dream fight for Travis Barker. Is there one fight before it's all said and done that you really want to see happen?
I think Israel versus Jones
Oh,
would be
yes.
crazy.
That would be
Yeah,
crazy. Yes.
that would be wild. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I love how it's feeling like it might happen.
Yeah, you follow their back and
That,
forth on social media?
yeah. I've been seeing it back and forth. Both are taking shots at each other, so that'd be an exciting fight.
And by the way, are your kids into it as well?
Yeah, both of my kids watch all the fights with me.
Wow.
It's awesome. And they both trained growing up. I just felt like they had to know like the basics of like Muay Thai and just kicking and hitting. They're not into it like me, but yeah, they definitely love it. They love when Nate comes around. Yeah, they're fans.
Travis, I got to say, this was a huge deal for me. I really appreciate it. I can't even believe I'm talking to you on the show, man. It's awesome.
Man,
it really is.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. And continued success to you and the rest of the band. I'm still following, supporting, and wishing you guys the best. And you're an inspiration. Everything you've overcome is amazing. And it's great to have you as a fan of not only the sport, but the show as well. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Hopefully one of these days we can actually meet in person.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Ariel.
Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.